So I'm starting at the back of the house for our July garden tour on the ferry slope. There's our little fairy garden. We've got 3 houses there. And then we also added a bird feeder that's shaped like a fairy house, which is very sweet. And the juncos have found it, so it's fun to watch them from the window inside. Xander's coming on the tour with me today. He's our leader. Hopefully I'm not making you too sick. I'm walking with this. Where are we going next, Xander? Should we go up on the deck? Good idea. So Xander wants in, I think. You want to go in and have some breakfast, or are you just going to follow around with me? No, he's coming on the tour. All right, let's start here. So this used to be my strawberry bed, which has turned into a cilantro bed because I had to move the strawberries. I don't think they were getting enough sun. Only one of the blossoms pollinated, and then it died before it ripened. So this is now my cilantro bed. I started this from seed and I've been harvesting it. That's why it's not very lush at the moment. And then down here, I've got some foxglove starts. Growing some sugar and peas. This is a dancing queen hosta that we planted. And all of that new growth is just looking amazing. And this is a T-Rex hosta. It had a flower, so it hasn't really done any growing lately. Still haven't seen any flowers in my forget-me-nots. None of my snapdragons have flowered yet, but the petunia that I planted from seed is flowering the second time. That's kind of cool. This is a new addition to our deck this summer. We added a pond. This is an aquascape pond, and we've got this one here is a red parrot feather. That is a scarlet river lily, and that's a blue moneywort. Very pretty. Another one of our railing planters. We've got petunias and carnations and fuchsias. Some other things in there. Very pretty. That very tall one at the back there is one I planted from seed. And this one here's the difference between the ones you get at the nursery. But I don't know why mine are so tall. It must be a different variety. This here is my dwarf hardy nectarine, and it used to be down in the Plum Garden. I'm trying to get the whole thing in shot. And we had to repot it because it had a very bad case of peach leaf curl, but it's totally recovered. You can see the leaves look very nice. They've flushed out again. And our basket from Superstore is still going strong. Geraniums and petunias. And then this is my other railing planter. Fuchsias are looking absolutely beautiful right now. There are more carnations, and then those are the tall petunias at the back. Those ones, I don't know what color they're gonna be, maybe white. So far we've had white, light pink, and a light purple on the ones I planted from my seed mix. But coming over here is my little grow station. I've got some stuff to get all that stuff under there organized coming from Amazon. And then in there are 24 more foxglove starts to put out in the fall. This is my new system. I've got a mini greenhouse and a grow light, and Xander's checking things out. So I can start seedlings here now and protect them and give them a bit more light because it's a pretty shady deck. So this is a view of the deck where we hang out in the summer. It's a nice shady spot. And coming down here, this is the pathway that Brent put in for me with railings to help with my bad back. There's the frame for his hammock. He doesn't leave it out here because he's worried it'll get ruined. We had a little mishap with a chopping block stump that was left on the lawn, so we may have to reseed that little bit there, but otherwise this Dutch micro clover seed from Amazon is fabulous. And you can see where I stepped, but it'll just bounce right back in no time. Over here is the kitty section that Xander's leading us to. Yes, we tried buying a cat mint plant, Nepeta, and the cats have completely destroyed it. There's like almost nothing left. Yes, you. But I'm hoping that because it's a perennial, it'll come back stronger and the cats might leave it alone after they get over the initial joy. Up here, I cannot believe how well our arbutus are doing this year. I went around and clipped off all of the diseased looking leaves and we mulched the bottom with gravel, and they have so much new growth and the leaves are so glossy and healthy. Highly recommend, if you have a young arbutus tree, take the time to clip off all of the diseased looking leaves and give it a fresh start. Down here we have, what is that? Saskatoon berry that someone gave me last year. Growing away, protected from the deer. Here's a view of our yard from the woodshed. This is a little old cast iron stove that I planted a red hot poker in. It did have one bloom this year, but didn't last very long. Let's go in this garden. I'm carrying this little flag around because we started a new system with our watering. Oh, and here's our other arbutus. This one you can get a better look at. Let me see if I can get a good shot. Look how healthy they look now. They're just so glossy and all that new growth. So pretty. We're still protecting them from the deer because we have two mamas. One has twin fawns this year and the other one has a single. And they are eating everything. I found out they really like this kinnick. We have a load of kinnick on our property. That's one giant shrub. And our giant Jurassic sword ferns. All right, let's go in this garden. First of all, check out my lavender. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but all my lavender's in them. I'll go in. That's the phenomenal lavender, and it gets these really long wispy blooms. This is another variety. I don't remember. I've got 5 different varieties in here. But look at those. They're so pretty. I absolutely love lavender. I can't wait till this whole section is just full of lavender. There's one of my dahlias that came up. That one is the peach Lark's Ebb dahlia. And then I've got another one, a red. I don't know if you can see it, but something ate it. There's like a tiny little sprout. Anyway, there's Brent's Norway red maple. I've got the steps going down here all the way now. And we've got, this is my Mange lilac. It's already finished blooming, of course. It's July. Here's our big leaf maple sapling that we put in. That is descendant of the big leaf maple that used to be at the community hall that got taken down to build a stage, which not everybody was happy about. So these daisies are volunteers, but I planted this nasturtium down here and I just love the color. It's so vibrant. The lupins, I did cut them back hoping for a second bloom, but nothing yet. This is another shrubbery. And then we've got a couple more shrubs in here and a whole bunch more of the nasturtium. And then these are some cosmos that I planted from seed and kind of underwhelming. I don't know. They're pretty, but They're very small. They do get a lot of sun in the afternoon. But I don't know. There's my Miss Canada lilac. Oh, I've got another nasturtium peeking through here. See that? My magnolia is looking healthy. That's a Vulcan magnolia with big pink blooms in the spring. So anyway, like I was saying, this is our new watering system. Well, it's not new. I need to swap these out because we moved a couple of them. So basically we have these clay pots and we fill them up every few days, and then they water the plants around them. So right now our weeds are flourishing, but so are our shrubs. They're doing well. The plan for this little section going along here is I'm gonna just fill it with tulip bulbs, because what happens is in the spring it's full sun, because these huge oak trees don't have leaves, and then once they leaf out, this becomes partial shade. But what's happening is I just noticed my snapdragon is blooming. Look. Anyway, in the Plum Garden, it's partial shade in the spring, and then it turns into full sun in the summer. I'm coming out, bud. Beep, beep. No. Seriously. Xander, come on. All right, we finally got out of the garden with Xander. He's not allowed in there because we have the dry head fence and the bird's nest in there, and we've got a bird bath and a bird feeder, and they can't get in, but if they get in, they can't get out. So he found a way to sneak in while I was in there, but he didn't get any birdies. So this is one of the shed beds. We've got Russian sage and bearded blue iris, got a windmill palm. It's still very, very, very small. And a little juniper down there. This is a pretty new bed. It just went in this year. So it's got a lot of filling in to do. And then this is a new tree that we planted. We were unsure if this was going to make it. This is a Taylor's Perfection camellia plant, and as you can see, we have a clay pot on that one as well. But the idea is we want it to fill in and hide those garbage cans, but it was not looking very healthy. But I've been noticing there's some new growth. Look at that. And the leaves are looking a little healthier and glossier. So maybe I was just shocked from the transplant, but we'll see. Hopefully in the spring it comes back with a bang. This is our other shed bed. So this has deer proof, or deer resistant, I guess nothing's deer proof, wildflower seeds, which some stuff has come up, and I don't think the deer are browsing on it, but we don't get a lot of flowers yet. We've got another windmill palm. This one's older, and we cut it right back because all the leaves were dying out. Those are another variety of iris. They haven't flowered yet, so I'm not sure what variety. We've got some gray sward, which is a really nice ground cover. And there, these are a couple grasses that we transplanted. So they're feeling a bit sorry for themselves, but they'll get over it. Then in here, we transplanted these daisies from a big clump in the Plum Garden. Brent put a bunch of mint in over there. He's actually put a lot of mint in because we'd rather have a mint lawn than a grass lawn. But we're just kind of letting this do its own thing. Our sage flowered this year. I missed getting, I think I have a picture of it somewhere, but it's doing really well. We moved it back because it was hanging over the path all the time, and it was not a great spot. But there's another massive connect bush that the deer love to munch on. So none of this is deer fenced. So we just let them browse as they will. We got a bunch more daisies in here. Brent's in the process of pulling out all these iris because they are the yellow flag iris, which are invasive, which we didn't know. But see those orange flowers? I don't remember the name of them, but I'll put it on the screen if I can find it. They're so pretty. They're just starting to open. Crocamasia or something like that. I don't know. Something like that. But yeah, I love this view. And then there's our massive ornamental cherry tree. And the view above our house. Just a little forest tucked up in the shade. All right, Xander, we're going in the other garden. You can come in this one. Ready to go in? Come on. All right, well, let's start on this side. There's more of the nasturtiums that I planted from seed. This had a whole bunch of wildflowers in it after the tulips were done. There's a few poppies and clarkia left. I'm gonna have to leave these iris in because I'm not sure what variety they are as they didn't flower. This is a giant parsley hedge that I think would be really pretty and cut flowers. My bleeding heart is dying back. There's quite a lot of fruit on my yellow plum tree. I don't know if you can see that. I can zoom in, look at that. But yeah, there's a lot this year, which is nice. Still no bees in our little mason bee house, I don't think. So this is where the path is going to come up here, and we've got a bunch of hellebores in here, and then our Italian columnar cypress hedge is doing well. We've got a Plumeria lungwort there, and a Brunera there. So yeah, we've got a few little things. We've got a bit of ground cover. There's a Snow in Summer and Sweet William, I think. No, not Sweet William. Sweet something. Can't remember. And this is a big addition from the last one, is we put in an arch. So this was the yellow plum sucker that I was talking about espalier, and there it is. I've done it. The only concern I have is that once the other side fills in with roses, I don't think it's going to get enough sun. But maybe if it comes up over the top, it will. I don't know. See how that develops. And then over here, I've decided that instead of jasmine, I think down this deer fence, I'm actually going to put an evergreen clematis and more of that Plumeria lungwort, because I think that would look really pretty. And this stays in shade most of the day, all year round. So we got a few new additions to show you. I've got a new Russian sage. These are mango popsicle pokers, which I just think are absolutely gorgeous. I love the orange and the purple together. This is a Joseph's Coat climbing rose, and it's so neat because the flowers actually change color as they mature. It's really beautiful. And that is a high wire flying climbing rose with vibrant pink blooms, but we transplanted it, so it's feeling a bit sorry for itself. Probably not the best time. We also transplanted this buddleia, which is very happy. Let me see if I have the variety on here. It's a buzz velvet. Look at the bloom on that. We got one bloom on our cherry cheesecake rhododendron this year. I think these are helianthus, those like sunflower family. We also transplanted those, and they seem to be doing okay. Oh look, my agapanthus is blooming. Yay, there's buds on it. That's exciting. And then that's all hardy geranium in there, and wildflowers, and these teeny tiny little fuchsias. Look at that. So pretty, it's just covered in them. And then this is my little wildflower patch. Planted, well, we winter sowed 2 to 3 different kinds of wildflowers, and this is the result. So we just sowed them in clumps, and they filled in this whole area. So I've identified Clarkia, Chinese houses, and poppies, California poppies. I don't know what those little purple, those are new. Aren't those pretty? But most of them sadly are annuals, so unless they seed themselves, they're not going to come back next year. But I've got a pot in here so that our penstemon gets a bit of water, because it gets very hot and dry in this corner. So we've got a ruby red tongue penstemon here. I tried putting it in a bouquet, but it did not like that. And over here, look at that purple and pink together. Isn't that gorgeous? That is my hydrangea. That is an onyx peacock hydrangea starting to bloom. And then we got a second flush of blooms on this clematis, which was quite exciting. But I need to get this hedge parsley out of there so they don't take over. This clematis did not bloom again, but it is climbing and it's quite happy actually. I should probably train it onto the dry hedge instead of the apple tree. All right, let's go this other side. There's a view of the arch from this side. Xander. Here's the wisteria that I was training. It's coming up and over the driftwood now, just quite exciting. And then the other one's not as big, but it's needs a bit more training. We transplanted all of our ground cover thyme over here. Gets a lot more heat and sun, so they seem a lot happier. And I think we even had some blooms on there, yeah. And then there's another bloom coming. The bees love that. All the petunias I planted from seed. I started those in my hydroponics. It's quite cool. I believe this is verbena. I'm not sure. I don't remember planting that. But I might have got it from someone. Here's where we put the zinnias that I started from seed. They had a bit of a rough transplant. And then here's the strawberry plants. We transplanted these daisies and they don't like us now. But the bees are still pollinating. So I think what I'll do is I'll just cut them right down and hopefully they'll come back next year. We also transplanted this rose. Sorry, Auntie Gail. Brent accidentally broke the root ball. But because it's a much older rose, we're hopeful that it'll recover in the spring and we'll get new growth and it'll come right back. My massive rosemary that needs a good pruning. But look at this. How pretty is that? This is a Linetti musk rose. And these little tiny clusters of pink roses are just absolutely phenomenal. Love it. All right, I thought I'd show you what I do after I go through my garden and pick things that I want to rebloom or coming to the end of their life. So here's a bucket of water that I take down to the garden. And this is larkspur. These are my Linetti musk roses. We've got petunias, we've got penstemon. I'm trying penstemon that has more unopened blooms on it this time. I think last time they didn't last because they had already started opening. We've got these little tiny California poppies. I'm going to try using this hedge parsley as a filler. We've got big beautiful daisies. What else is in here? I know there's some cosmos in here somewhere and some carnations down there. Did you know carnations smell like cinnamon and nutmeg? I always used to hate carnations, but I'm kind of changing my mind on that. A little baby poppy. So that's the before. I'm going to do 2 bouquets, a little posy for the table and then a bigger bouquet with the bigger flowers. So here's the big one all done. It's my first time using larkspur. There's petunias. There's nasturtiums. You can see a couple nasturtium leaves in there. And then those bright pinky red ones are nasturtiums. Daisies. First time using hedge parsley. And then my roses. We got a few tiny little California poppies. There's some Clarkia hidden in there. I love it. It's really pretty. I swapped it out for my little posy. This one has carnations, cosmos, a snapdragon. There's a Clarkia, some poppies, some roses, some little tinier daisies. There's a tiny bit of hedge parsley, but that'll go on the table. It's just a little posy.